that author's name has to don't like how I'm doing that. So the next one was Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with April's TBR. Oh, hello. Another month has come and gone, so it's time to pick out the books that I'm reading in April. And I am super excited and super nervous because there are lots of things that I need to do this month. I have a couple of buddy reads that I need to fit in. I've got a bunch of books that I'm like really in the mood for right now that I would love to fit into some of these prompts. And spoiler, but we have our very first punishment of the year because I definitely didn't finish all the books I need to. So I'm excited and I'm nervous. But if you're new to my Basket of Reads TBR game, don't worry, I will leave linked above the video where I kind of explain all the rules if you'd like to go check that out. But let's take a quick look at last month and see how great I did not do. So here's a look at all of the physical books that I had last month. We started off with the longest book on my TBR, which was the Dragonfly and Amber II in the Outlander series, which I did read. We have a 5-star prediction, which is The Last Memoirs of Jane Austen by Sir James, which I am currently reading. We'll finish before the end of the month. There's still a few days. Daughters of the Winter Queen was for a non-fiction book, and I'm almost done with this one as well. We have Confessions of a Jane Austen Addict by Lori Briegler, which was to read a humorous book. Have not started this one and probably will not get to it this month. We then have A Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole, which was to read a mass market paperback. I also did have The Crowns of Croswald by D.E. Knight, which was to read a book with squad goals. Then we had The Phantom of Pemberley by Regina Jeffers, which was to read a historical fiction. And finally, Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, which was to read a subscriber rec, and my friend Teresa recommended this one for me. So I've got a couple books that I'm still in the middle of, but like I said, I've got the end of the month is like a few days away, so I can definitely get these done before then, but there's no hope for this one. So we have at least one punishment, so instead of 8 books, we'll be picking 9 books this month. Pick number 1. Oop. This one, which is Read or Listen to an Audiobook. So the first one was to read or listen, however you want to call it, to an audiobook, which I did get in February. So this is the second time it's come up, and if it comes up again before June, there's a punishment for that. But I'm going to go with Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shannon McGuire. This is the third in the Wayward Children's Guide series. I have actually read this one. I read this one last summer, but I am buddy reading this series with my friend Teresa over at Teresa Love. I will leave her channel linked down below, obviously. But I read this one last summer and I don't remember a thing. So we're going to read this one again. Well, I'm going to read this one again. We're going to buddy read this one together, and hopefully in the next few months we'll be able to fit one of these each month. There's only about 4 left, including this one. So in theory, we should have no problem, but it's super skinny. This is set in a world where there is a home for wayward children, and these are people kind of like Alice from Alice in Wonderland who have gone through a doorway to another world and then have come back to the real world, but they don't feel like this. They don't feel at home here. Each book is different. Some of them take place at this home for wayward children. Some of them take place in the individual worlds for each of these characters. I believe that this one takes place in both a separate world as well as the home. But again, don't remember a thing. So I'm going to definitely be listening to the audiobook of this one, and I'm excited. So I got a buddy read in. So yay! Number 2. Ooh, author random letter. So the next one was author random number, which just means I'm going to pull up a random letter generator, for lack of a better word, and then whatever letter comes up, I have to find a book where the author's either first or last name begins with that letter. So I don't actually have a phone, so I'm using my laptop. So let me pull this up. Here we go. So here's this is a very weird angle and I apologize. Here's my random letter generator. Let's see. T. I have to get a book that starts either name with T. Ooh, so I've had to do some shuffling, but I think I'm going to go with this one, and that is Volume 2 of My Brother's Husband by Jingoro Tagame. I believe that is at least close to how you pronounce it. I read the first volume of this for Becca's Bookopoly last month, so go check out that vlog if you want to know my thoughts on the first one. But it's a 2-part series, and I'm afraid I'm going to forget things from the first book. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the second one. It is a pretty thick manga, but like the pages are pretty short, so I'm not that worried about it. This series follows our main character and his daughter who live in Tokyo, and he had a twin brother who died, I think it was about a year before the series starts, but his brother was gay and lived in the US or Canada, I'm not entirely sure. He just has grown up in a town or like in a culture that is not as accepting of gay people, but the man who married his brother comes to visit to kind of get a better idea of the culture that his husband grew up in, and this man is watching his daughter just kind of interact with this man, and she has absolutely no problem with the fact that he is gay. She finds it fascinating. She's never met anyone like him before, and so he's just kind of like watching his daughter interact with this man, and if it changes his opinion and perspective on things. So this is the second volume. There are only 2, so this is the end, and I loved the first one, so I'm very excited to get into the second one. Number 3. Read a book that was gifted to you. The next one was Read a Book That Was Gifted to You, and I've been trying to get this on a few TBRs now, and they never quite fit, but it's gonna be for this one, dang it. And that is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This was gifted to me by my lovely friend Serena over at A Wandering Mind. I will leave her channel linked down below. But she loved this book and gifted it to me, and this is a series that I've heard so many people talk about and love, and it follows the Brown sisters, and so this is the first one, and I believe the third one like just came out or is about to come out, so I need to get on that bandwagon because everyone loves this series, and I love a good romance. So this book follows our main character Chloe Brown, who is chronically ill and is a computer geek and has a brush with death at one point, I want to say, and so she creates a list called Get a Life, and it's all of these things that she wants to do, but it's hard to be spontaneous and like check these things off your bucket list when you're so like set in structure, so she enlists the help of Redford Red Morgan, who is kind of like the local bad boy who I believe lives in her building, and she gets him to help her out. And romance. Need I say more? This sounds amazing. I am incredibly excited to see what the hype about this series is, and I'm sure I'm going to love it. Number 4. Ooh, here we go. A Round of Gavin's Play Your Cards Right. So this is super exciting. Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin has a fun TBR game where I will leave a link down below so you can kind of see what it is if you want to see more about it, but basically he picks a book that he's super excited about and a book that he's not as excited about, and he puts 5 cards between them, and he has to keep guessing if the next one is going to be higher or lower than the previous one, and if he makes it all the way to the end, he gets to read the book he wants to read. If he doesn't, he has to read the one that he's not as excited about. So let me grab some cards and set up, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so for the book that I am most excited about and want to read this very second is actually ACOTAR. I am obsessed with this book. Well, I'm obsessed with this author. When I read Crescent City, I became utterly obsessed with that and instantly went out and bought this one. I'm like, I need it. And the one that I am not as excited about is actually this book by Philippa Gregory. It is Three Sisters, Three Queens. It is very large. it's a very thick book, and I'm just not in the mood for it at this moment, but you know, maybe that's what needs to get me through to actually read this This year, alright, I got a little closer so you can kind of see these cards a little bit better, but the first one is a Jack. I'm gonna say the next one is most likely gonna be lower than that. It is, it's a 10, just barely. I'm gonna go lower again. No, it's not. It's not lower. So I didn't do so hot, but it's not the end of the world because I am excited about this one. So I got Three Sisters, Three Queens by Philippa Gregory. This is just not, I'm just not in the mood for it right now. It's a very large, chunky book, but it is on my TBR to read by the end of the year. So again, not the end of the world, but it is set in the Tudor court. It is the next book in this author's kind of Plantagenet Tudor companion series. They don't really have to do with any, like, they don't, you can read them completely in whatever order you want to. I'm reading it in the suggested order, which is chronologically. So this just happens to be the next one. And so we follow Catherine of Aragon, who was the first wife of Henry Tudor, and then the princess, Margaret, who I believe is Tudor's or Henry's oldest sister, and then her younger sister, Mary. And by the end, they become queens of England, Scotland, and France. So these are very politically driven stories because they are very, very dense reads. So this one is probably one that I'm going to start off the month with, just because I'm excited about it, but I'm also really nervous just because it's thick and dense. And like, I love her stories. They're so incredibly detailed and fascinating to me, but they can be hard to read at times if you're not used to her writing. So, not my favorite. I really, really, really wanted to read ACOTAR, but this is going on the list just to make it interesting. Number 5 is this one, which is, oh goodness gracious. Oh no, add 2 books this month. So, this is just going to be a very entertaining video, apparently. So, this is a prompt. It's not even a prompt. Like, this doesn't count for something. I still have to pick again. But I have to add at least 2 more books onto my already larger TBR. So, I'm going to have at least 11 here to show you. Good fun. But yeah, let's go to what I'm actually going to be reading. Since that was technically not a prompt, number 5. Again. This one. Oh. Oh, tiny. Oh, Becca's Bookopoly. This is gonna be a video. So yeah, we got Becca's Bookopoly. So I have somewhere. So I have this little board that I printed out for when she did a month-long Bookopoly-a-thon last, was it the summer? I really don't remember. But I'm gonna use this and we're gonna roll the dice. So let me get this set up and then we're gonna take a prompt off of her board, because this is the game of games. I do not remember where I stopped off, so we're just gonna start off go again. I found this random necklace with no chain, and so that'll be our little trinket that goes. I was too lazy to go downstairs, so I found this random dice thing online on my husband's phone. So let's see what we've got. Doubles. Whoop-de-doo. Alright, 12. Ooh, ebook or audiobook. So we got read an ebook or audiobook. I'm gonna go with ebook here. And I am reading Highlander Most Wanted by Maya Banks with my lovely friend Taylor over on Bookstagram. We'll leave her link down below because she's incredible and like she has the aesthetic that I want. But we read the first book in this series, Never Seduce a Scot, last month. Just on a whim. She was already planning on reading it. It sounded interesting. I added it to my TBR and we ended up buddy reading it. And it was fantastic. I loved it. So we're going to try to read as many Maya Banks historical fictions as we can. And so this just happens to be the next one in this series. It's a companion series, so you really don't have to, well, I guess you kind of have to read the first one to get into this one. This is set in a world where there are 2 clans that hate each other, the Montgomerys and the Armstrongs. This one follows one of the brothers of, I think it's the Montgomery clan? It is. And so at the beginning of this book, they storm a 3rd clan because of things that happen in the first book, and he finds a girl there who has been captive, and she just wants a simple life. She can't go back to her family, she can't go back to her clan, so she just wants a simple life in an abbey, but they form an attraction, obviously. So we had so much fun reading the first one, so we're gonna hopefully get to maybe one Maya Banks book a month. We'll see. But this is the next one because we both have ideas on who this woman is, because we think she kind of showed up in the first book for a split second, and I am very excited. But yeah, I got a fun historical fiction, and I have this on my Kindle, so we're going to be reading that one. So I got both my buddy reads in. Yay. Number 6. Ooh, ow. This one looks good. Which is, oh goodness gracious, okay. A recent purchase that you've bought so far this year. The next one is to read a recent purchase within the last month, which is great because I really want to read this book. It's taking everything in me not to drop everything and read this book, and that is Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. This is one of my really anticipated releases this year that I believe is a debut novel. But it follows our main character, Grace, who just got a PhD and is kind of wondering what to do with her life. She's kind of done with academics. So what's next? She goes on a girls' trip to Las Vegas and wakes up married. So she decides to just have fun. So she goes to New York City with her now wife to get to know her a little bit more because, like I said, she's burnt out. She doesn't want to do anything. She's kind of like having a life crisis. And she finds this woman super attractive and entertaining and fascinating. So she goes to New York with said wife. This sounds like an incredible romance. I love the idea of these two women getting married in Vegas by accident and then trying to make it work. This cover is stunning. It's a debut novel and I love this idea so much. So this one I purchased within the last month and I am so excited. Number 7. This one. Read a book you put on pause. So the next book is to read a book that you have paused. Sometimes what I do is I don't fully DNF a book. I just kind of put it on pause where like I'm not feeling it right now, but I don't want to give up on it. So the one I'm choosing is kind of funny because I was supposed to read it in January and I thought I was going to finish it. And then I didn't. So really I probably should have gotten a punishment for February. So this month is just making up for it. And that is Among the Janeites by Deborah Yafe. I have made it 116 pages in. I'm almost halfway through, if not halfway through. And this is just a fascinating look on the fandom that surrounds Jane Austen and her books. And I loved it when I was reading it. I just have not had time to like focus on it because I've had other books on my TBR. And I want to prioritize those so I don't have punishments. Anyway, so I've only got about half a book to read, which winning a little bit, but hopefully I can finish this one because it's on my list of books to read by the end of the year. I am enjoying it when I read it. I just need to make time to read it, so hopefully putting it on this list will give me the step to do it. So this is my kind of put on pause because I did kind of pause it, and now I'm going to pick it up again and hopefully finish it. Number 8. This one, which was not closed, which is to read a standalone. So the next one is to read a standalone. So I'm actually going to be reading an e-arc that I have that's coming out on the 4th of May. So trying to get it done before then. And that is called I Speak Boy by Jessica Brody. I've completely forgotten what this is about, but I do know it's a middle grade based on Jane Austen's Emma. Need I say more? Actually, my best friend Lauren found this for me, sent it to me. I found it on NetGalley, said, please, please, please. And they let me have it for some reason. They're crazy. But I'm like super excited about it because A, middle grade, so it'll be easier to get through. I'm trying to read more middle grades because I have so many that I want to read. And I just keep buying more and not reading the ones that I have already on my TBR. So, yay middle grade, also based on Jane Austen. So like everything about this sounds incredible. So I'm excited to see a more kind of a lighthearted story, hopefully, but again, very excited about this one. So reading this one hopefully sometime before it comes out. My one and only punishment pick, number 9, is this one. Oh, there it goes. Read a book based on current events. The next one is to read a book that is based on current events, which I have a lot of things based on historical events, but current events, not so much. But I've been meaning to read this one, so it kind of works perfectly, and I just kind of stumbled across it and remembered it. And that is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This follows our main character, Enchanted, who really wants to be a singer-songwriter and star, and she gets discovered by this man named Corey Fields, and then he kind of, for lack of a better word, grooms her. And this is loosely based on the R. Kelly scandal situation that happened a couple of years ago. So I'm very interested to get into this one because there's also a murder mystery plot line to it, but that's not obviously the most important part. The most important kind of theme throughout this book is the whole idea of grooming young girls. And this cover, y'all. But a lot of things by Tiffany D. Jackson have sounded really interesting to me, but I've never actually picked them up. And so this is the first one that I'm going to give a shot to because I've heard it's incredible, and I'm ready for all of the feels. Probably a lot of uncomfortable feels, but a lot of feels. So this feels perfect for this because it's kind of a current event within like the last couple of years. So this is the one I'm going to go for. And I'm excited. Hesitant, but excited. Like, can you be excited about a book that you know is going to destroy you? I guess so. And then my first extra 2 books I need to read, prompt number 10, is this one, which is to read a book out of your comfort zone. The next one is to read a book out of your comfort zone, which is the second prompt in this video alone that we've gotten from another month. I believe I got this one in February, so again, if this one comes up again before June, we'll have another punishment. But reading a book out of my comfort zone, I've decided to go for this one, which is The Au Pair by Emma Roos. This is kind of a thriller mystery about a girl discovering her past, I want to say, and like a lot of sinister stuff that surrounds it. It's on my list of things to read by the end of the year. It's a mystery thriller. I'm trying to read more mystery thrillers. It's a book that like I don't know what is about it, but it's grabbed my attention and like I need to read it. So yeah, don't know that much about it, but I'm okay with that. I feel like for a book like this, knowing the least is gonna work in my favor, but I do know it's about like family secrets and like what she thinks her past is and what her past actually is, that kind of thing. But I expect to be chilled and it's very thrilling. That's my theory. But yeah, it's kind of out of my comfort zone because I'm not a huge mystery thriller reader, but I'm trying to be. So hopefully this will help me step in that direction. And hopefully my final pick, book number, or prompt number 11. Oh boy. See, this one looks good. Oh, best friend pick. And the very last prompt is a best friend pick. So I'm going to give my best friend Lauren a quick text and see when she can talk, and we'll come back when she has given, we'll come back when she has time, and we'll see what she picks for me. It's a little bit later and we're about to give the Biffle a call. I am a little stressed only because I don't know what she's gonna pick. I know she's got something already picked out. So it's gonna be great, but I'm screen recording. I'll pop her up here. Let me get out of the way so you can see her. And let's give her a call and see what's gonna happen here. I hope you can hear her. My hair is not great. Hello! Okay. There are no parameters. Go for it.
Great. Okay, so This would be if I inserted the book here, because I don't own a copy of it. But I'm sure you can, like, put the picture in of something, because I'll leave that to editing Kelsey later. But I'm recommending that you read the novel Picture Us in the Light. Okay. It's by Kelly Lloyd Gilbert. The cover is beautiful. It's a contemporary kind of, I don't want to say necessarily coming of age, because the main character and like all of his friend group are all high school seniors. Mm-hmm. So it's on the older end of YA, because I know that recently you had kind of been like with like middle of the road high school kind of romance. So it's kind of a romance. It's a little bit of a mystery. It's kind of sad, and by very sad it made me cry. Oh, good. I read it like 2018, I think 2018 or 2019, and like I still think about it. So I think you'll like that, because the people are a little bit older. Okay. It's got some really good rep. The main character is Asian American, and there's some LGBTQ plus rep too, which is really nice. And I don't know, like there was just something about it. The time that I read it, and probably ever since, I haven't really read a novel that like had the same tone, and it just really surprised me. Okay. So, and I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but I recently saw someone that I follow on Goodreads who had just read it and reviewed it and like really, really enjoyed it. It was like, why does this fly under the radar? Because it's really, really good. And that kind of reminded me that like, oh, there's a book that I haven't read in a while and I need to reread again because I really liked it at the time that I read it. So that's my recommendation to you.
Cool. I looked up the cover and like, you're right. Gorgeous. But like it looks familiar. So like, I feel like I was with you, or like you've talked about it before and I've looked it up before because it looks familiar-ish.
I definitely checked it out from the library.
Okay.
When we lived in our apartment. And probably read it in our apartment. So I'm going to guess you probably saw it there. Or maybe you heard me talk about it there. Probably both.
I believe that. Oh, cool. The last one you picked was so good. So, like, now the hype is up there.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure at all. No, I'm excited. I'll have to see if the library has it or if I just need to go buy a copy, which is also a thing that, they could do.
I know it's in paperback now, so...
It won't. We like paperback.
It'll probably be a little bit more expensive, too, if you can't find it at the library or otherwise.
Well, cool. I'm excited. I don't know anything about it except for what you said. Oh, thank you.
Ta-da!
I'm so excited. I'll have to let you know how I think. What I think. I don't know how I think. I'm a mess. It's fine. Awesome. Well, thank you for picking a book. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
So here's a look at my TBR minus the ebooks and minus the book that Lauren is gonna pick for me. It's gonna be a month, you guys. I'm really nervous about like this one and okay. Well, I'm kind of nervous about some of these just because like this one's very large. This one I don't know what I'm getting into. This one's gonna give me all the feels. But I've got some smaller ones on here. I've got some books I'm really, really excited about. I've got some super thin ones. So I think this month is gonna be stressful, but good. But that's a look at some of the books that I will be reading in the month of April. Please let me know down below if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, what you're planning on reading in April. Are you stressed like I am? Because oh my gosh, I am now so stressed. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to go check all of those out. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!